All right, good morning. My name is David Brown, and we're going to be talking about service and special projects, and very specifically how MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing contractors can utilize service and special projects as a growth strategy. We've got 12 questions we're going to run through between Courtney Stearns, Chris Hodge, and myself. And so let's start briefly with just a little bit about each one of us. So my name is David Brown. I've been in the construction industry since 1988. Worked my way up through a typical operations track, starting out as an apprentice electrician, and then moving my way up into field supervision, project management, estimating, and finally division management at a large electrical contractor in Northern California. One of those stops along the way, which was fantastic for talent development that we're going to talk about, was getting to go spend some time on a service van. And there's a lot of lessons that you can go learn on a service van, good and bad, both technical and customer service related. And we're going to talk about some of those as we move along today. And then later on, as moving up into a profit and loss of general management position, there's a lot of financial lessons in customer service and business growth lessons that you can learn, utilize. So anyways, we're going to talk through a lot of those. Courtney Stearns, I'll just say that Courtney I asked him this morning, I said, Courtney, how many of your clients have successful service and special projects teams? And his answer was just deadpan, all of them. Why? So with that, Courtney, a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Well, thanks, David. And that's really a credit to the clients that I've worked with over the years and their focus on service and special projects. And service and special projects actually has a special place in my my heart with respect to business. I think it's so challenging, and the opportunities are so high, and the risks are equally high. But to get the right mix between that and really help a contractor get the maximum value out of their service and special projects, and some people call it small projects, depends on how you define all of that. But anyway, helping them get the maximum value out of their service and special projects department is fantastic. It's really fun, and it's a great place to see people grow. And I've been doing it since really 1983, when I first started working in the construction industry with some electrical and mechanical contractors. I learned a ton about what not to do and also what to do. And from the very get-go in my experience with the MEP trades, it started with the service and special projects department. So anyway, I have a soft spot in my heart for it. I think there's great opportunity, and looking forward to the conversation today.
Fantastic. Chris, a little bit about Chris, and then Chris will probably take this a little bit further, but Chris, I think, has this amazing view. Number one, he was president of a mechanical contractor, and they did a lot of service and special projects work. Chris will talk more about that. But what I see in Chris is that he also has this very unique history where he's got very deep training in process improvement, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, quality control, and things like that. And service is a game it's a high velocity game. So you've got to put in something of a high quality, and you might be seeing 2 or 3, even 4 customers in a particular day. So there's a velocity aspect to it and a handoff aspect to the work. And Chris is extremely good at mapping out those processes and helping that workflow become very, very efficient. So Chris, could you tell both a little bit more about your background and what you see for service and special projects, and also help us define kind of what, when people say service and special projects, that means different things to different companies. Give a quick definition, if you would, after you introduce yourself.
Well, yeah. So, David, I've been blessed in terms of my career of being able to move through a bunch of different verticals. So I haven't always been in construction, but construction is definitely in my heart. But I came through manufacturing Silicon Valley as my start, and in that process, I gained a lot of knowledge and training specifically regarding total quality management and Six Sigma principles, and the ability to workflow map out processes and understand the interactions when you hand off a task and someone else accepts that task, all the nuances about the data exchange. And so that spurred me on to learn additional information about quality management, which I then applied to, different vertical software as a service. I worked at a billing factory. I worked at an outsourcer that dealt with automobile titles. And then I ended up in a consulting role. After a successful career, decided that consulting was my gig, and started working with a mechanical contractor that eventually convinced me to come on as senior management. And it was a wonderful experience getting to know the people, the tradesmen. I've always been kind of a hands-on person, around the house and doing things. So it gave me a renewed appreciation for tradesmen. And the struggles that they go through, and the uniqueness of dealing with a construction business. In terms of the mechanical contractor that I was a senior executive at, they had a unique relationship with a single client. That's a lot of eggs in one basket, but a single client where they were actually, on site for about 28 years with a trailer, an extension of their team, and that really spurred them into an ability to launch a service division and try and replicate that model with other customers with a fair degree of success, where they became extensions in their service department. They became extensions of that group. So from that perspective, that's how I got to be doing what I'm doing today.
How would you define service and special projects? If you could give us just a broad definition, 90 seconds or so, and then we're going to unpack that in the next few questions. But what would you say service and special projects are?
In terms of a lot of organizations will take service and special projects and pull them into a single group. For me, service is that ability to go out and take equipment that either you installed or didn't install, make sure that you're monitoring that equipment, you're making sure that it's in good repair, you're making sure that it's going to fulfill the lifetime objectives that the client had for that piece of equipment in the facility. And you're always looking for the opportunity of when does that need to be replaced. Depending upon the size of that particular replacement project, whether it's an air handler unit, a package unit, a DX system, the ability to look at that and say, gosh, it's of a certain size, that really becomes a special project. I need to rope in people from the construction side of my business because I can't just have service guys do this, right? But special projects, to me, are of a certain size. They're generally done by people with very specific skill sets that are the quick hit projects that you wouldn't want to tie up your construction folks with, right? So they're, change out of 6 air handler units on a roof, right? So that would end up being a special project. You'd rope in some construction people. It's tightly scheduled, and you're going to go ahead and get it done. Special projects could also be that client where you're an extension of their workforce, right? You actually extend their facilities management. In terms of service, again, it really is just that ability to go out and continuously be with the customer, showing them the value that you provide by making sure that their world continues to function normally.
Very cool. In the next question, we're going to unpack that a little bit further.